Day 13 in the YOSOY year, in the emotional aspect of the throat chakra in the constellation of Leo. The consistency, 16th of August 2020. Me. Today I was thinking, what really is coherence? I am. And did you come to a coherent conclusion? Me. I don't know. Coherence comes from the concept shared inheritance, being the meaning of herencia in Latin, meaning united, adhered, or connected. It therefore means that it is what unites us all, what connects the parts. A grandfather with the father with the son, united as a family, what passes from one to another through this connection is the herencia. That is the famous family heritage, whether genetic, ideological, as well as materials or goods. Therefore, being consistent is having the ability to share that connection with others, understanding that everyone is united and connected. I am. Very good. Coherence has many ways of being interpreted depending on the cultural, philosophical, spiritual, or intellectual background that you possess. The common denominator in the collective unconscious interprets coherence as a social duty that requires appearing what you are. If you do not do what is established by the common consensus, they directly turn you into a hypocrite. They say, express clearly in the word what lies in the mind. And if the receiver does not understand what you say, it is that you are rambling or illogical. So coherence became a weapon to judge the other, and not the tool to connect with the other. Me. How do I use it as a tool? I am. Well, before thinking about whether others see you as coherent or not, you must take advantage of the most important coherence of all, the balance between what I believe, what I feel, and what I do. The grandfather or grandmother, the father or mother, the son or daughter inside you are called mind, emotion, and action, or spirit, soul, and body. And these three are connected, united by a strong bond that makes them function as the Holy Trinity. One without the other lose meaning, and the three transfer data, information, useful energy for development and learning. What your spirit knows becomes an idea capable of thinking, imagining, designing, and all that it projects generates vibration and thus energy, passing to the soul, which gives it power, impulse, vitality, shapes ideas in the form of emotion, which will be fuel for the engine of the body, who will be in charge of manifesting this idea through emotion, through action. And so, the action gives experience, which is registered in the body, reacting to its energy, mobilizing new data, new emotions, which becomes information that nourishes the mind with new perspectives, enriching the ability to imagine, granting wisdom to the spirit. This circuit is constant and functional in both directions. Me. A simple example, then, would be learning to ride the bicycle. The idea of moving faster arises, of experiencing a new form of mobility. The emotion is what motivates me to get on for the first time, and through actions, I fall, get up, move forward, and all the emotions such as euphoria, joy, frustration, anger, stability, all of them are the reactions of my actions. Until I manage to move forward, riding the bike successfully, and this satisfaction registers in my soul, granting wisdom to the spirit, which will give it the basic notion of how to drive new ideas, like a motorcycle, a car. I am, and so on. The being is nourished in this connection. But the truth is that in society, people are so busy observing how others perceive us that they judge us in our actions, that many miss learning to ride a bicycle for fear of laughter or judgment from those who contemplate the first falls. Falling today is interpreted as incoherence and not as learning, and this accumulates many emotions in our bodies. Of all those things that our spirit wanted to take into action, but that our souls deprived of going down to the body for fear of being judged. This generates a disconnection between the body and the spirit, separating heaven from earth, repressing the soul, which is the bridge between the two, thus creating the incoherence, so it were, that is, the disconnection and separation of the parties. Me, and why is it the soul that represses itself? I am. Because the soul is energy in motion. It is the one who transfers negative and positive data from heaven to earth and from earth to heaven. It is the polarity that allows ideas to become realities. It's the fuel of action. We can interpret that you are that person who has decided to take a trip to an unknown destination in his new car. You, the person, are the spirit, and the vehicle is the body. For the body to function, it needs fuel, that is, energy, that is, the soul. But imagine that you are very happy with a full tank, and you have already traveled 300 kilometers, so you decide to stop to refuel at a gas station. But when you get off, everyone who is there laughs, because your car is not the best of all. They also judge you for how you dress, because you're different. And maybe they don't understand you because you speak in another language or dialect, so no one wants to help you. Depressed, you get in the car, but you have only 100 more kilometers of fuel left, so you stop every 15 kilometers trying to find some place where you feel comfortable. But in all of them you are judged or told how you should behave. So, you have only two options left. Either stop your trip because you've run out of fuel because you don't have the courage to carry the load yourself in front of those who judge you, or dress like them, try to imitate them, and ask for a little fuel at each station where they decide to collaborate with you. But in all, they judge you or tell you how you should behave. Me. So I become like them, and my long journey turns into endless short stops that delay my true goal. I am. All this for worrying about external coherence. Me. So there are two types of coherence, internal and external. I am. As I said, there are many, but let's talk about these two. The internal one is what you must manage to achieve by uniting your spirit, soul, and body as a single organism in which you use what your complete being needs and expresses without feeling judgment. You focus on yourself, and you must manage to achieve the unity and the organic sense between what you think, what you feel, and what you do. External coherence is one that makes you stop said internal functioning with a sense of mere survival, in which you put all your attention on thinking like others, feeling like others, and acting like others. It is also coherence, but we would say that in this case it is horizontal, not vertical, a kind of hereditary communism. But thinking, feeling, and doing for and for others without first having coherence, unity between my own being, turns me into an automation, in a mechanical being that reacts by the currents of the unconscious. Thus, getting out of that circuit to be consistent with my own being, my I am, implies getting rid of the notion of the collective, to become an individual in search of coherence. Instead of being taught, I am educated. Instead of receiving, I give. Instead of being controlled, I manage. Me. But this would seem to be that to be consistent with myself, I must be selfish, think only of myself, and disconnect from others. I am. This is the first stage, the crisis stage. The great crisis is breaking ranks, realizing that everything I think, feel, and do does not belong to me, but is a reaction to external impulses. My fear of being judged makes me seek the comfort of the group, and acting as the group, I ensure my survival. It usually happens in all mammals, and in humans it can be seen in art, in music, in religions, in political parties, in science, in philosophies, in spirituality. How many have you heard say, I am from this or another group team, I am this or that profession, I follow this or that person? Me. Yes, it's very normal, the sense and need to belong. I am. And of acceptance and recognition. Humans strongly need to be recognized by a pack, and especially by the leader of a pack, making them leave their own self to fit in and be accepted. And the groups, politics, and religions have been responsible for ensuring that this is so through the destruction of the ego. Ego comes from Latin and Greek and means I. No one can exist without the I. If you don't build a strong I, you will never find the potential of the I am. Ego comes from Latin and Greek and means I. No one can exist without the I. If you don't build a strong I, you will never find the potential of the I am. Therefore, the first crisis is individualism, separation from the group, the recognition that group thinking, feeling, and actions do not represent me. In this crisis, there is an emptiness, a feeling of deception, a perception of control and hierarchy, and a strange reaction of every man for himself. Thus the ego acts and becomes a self in motion, which in Greek is said egoism. The I tries to survive on its own, acting based on what it feels, and thus becomes the center of itself, without caring about anything else, what we call egocentrism. The self is now developing in all its aspects of the personality as it begins to be controlled by its own emotions and to act for its own benefits. And here let me narrow something down. The one who leaves the group and makes his life without caring about the others is as selfish and self-centered as the one who leaves the group believing himself to be superior or spiritual, and who tries to force the others in the group to follow his same way. For in both cases, he considers his own self-reference to be the only coherent truth. Me. So, sometimes the most loving and spiritual people also act selfishly when they consider that it is necessary to remove others from their group status and judge those who do not see the truth of unconditional love. Right? I am. Exactly. For they only see the truth through their eyes. So, the first crisis is to realize that you have to leave. And the second crisis is to leave, because the ties are so strong due to the years of adaptation that the moment you set foot outside the group, the eyes begin to judge. The different, the crazy, the weird, the strange, the fool, the faggot, the know-it-all, the conspiracy theorist, the believer, the fraud, the selfish, the deserter, the heretic, the traitor, and how many more. The currently famous bullying is lived in all social strata and ages, because you start to be different and the group makes it noticeable. Here we can fall into an emotional crisis that leads us to depression, anger, or indifference. If we manage to transcend this stage, the path of the self begins, in which the development of the personality begins. So, as you asked, yes, this path is a path of the ego in the search of the I am. He discovers the ego, everything that he is capable of and what he feels, until he experiences a new crisis. This does not fill him because he is alone, and he has discovered many things to share that are within himself. So, he inevitably searches for the meaning of things and begins to ask himself the key questions towards the I am. Why? For what? What? Who? How? Where? When? He begins his search, and sooner or later, one day, your body takes the right path, and your emotion feels that necessary, unlimited expansion that allows you to feel the spirit. And there, when the light bulb turns on, the light turns on. Eureka! I am. The last crisis. Upon encountering the vertical truths that unify mind, emotion, and action, he realizes that he was never right, but that he himself was his own reason, that nothing existed, that he himself was his own existence, that mind is consciousness, emotion is energy, and the body is a medium. Everything loses meaning, because the meaning you had given it before was related to the expectations and impulses of the group. You realize that the whole personal search had been nothing more than the polarized force of the group, trying to escape, trying to be against, to free yourself, but you were polarized, dual. In the I am, both paths come together. And if you transcend the existential crisis, you return to the world walking in real coherence, in which, without effort or need to pretend or seek to be understood, you act in relation to what you feel, and you feel in relation to what you think, but no longer in opposition to others, but at their service. You are not looking to change them, but to provide them with tools when they ask or need it. You do not seek to belong, and yet you can share with them. You don't follow a belief, and you can freely converse about all its truths. You don't have to escape their systems, because you got the greatest of freedoms, your own and inner one. Me. So, you are consistent inside and outside in both coherence. I am. When you complete the I with the I am, you realize that reality is not vertical or horizontal, that it is not right or left, inside or outside, up or down, but that all polarities are correspondences. They are united, connected to each other. They're two sides of a coin and two ends of the same rope. Extend your arms to the sides like a cross, and you will see in your head the attribute of thought, in your genitals the potential of action, in your left hand the ability to receive, and in your right the ability to give, and in the center of the cross the heart with the attribute of feeling. Me. Being consistent then is basically being in balance with what I feel and resonates in me, what beats in me, and what pushes me from the heart to give and receive, to think and act. I am. This way you will be useful to yourself and useful to others. And tell me, are you consistent? Me. Sometimes I feel that I care a lot about what people think of me, and I'm very concerned about how I explain things, if I'm understood, if it's coherent. Sometimes I feel like I've wasted a lot of time trying to do things the way that I did just to make others happy and to please others rather than doing what I was really supposed to do. I am. How does that make you feel? Me. That much of the potential that I could have used to expand my being, I used to please others. I often feel like the things I do for others are done to be accepted and loved, rather than because they have to be done. This is the first year, 2020, that I am not doing that everything I do is because I feel it. However, there is still that feeling that I could give myself more of myself if I didn't think so much about what other people would say or think. I am. What scares you about what others think? Me. Just not being consistent. Many believe that I do this for money or that I am a fake. I know that this is not the case because I know myself and those who know me know it. However, these visions make me reconsider whether later on, when I have to work in the social sphere, everything I've done up to now will not work against me, as if someone could say, now you come to take care of society when in 34 years you dedicated yourself to meditating and not doing anything practical for people. I am. And do you think that those who say that we're born the best Samaritans and were already manifesting their potential from their first year of life? Me. No, of course not. I am. So, everyone has a different time and preparation, a different path. Judging the ways of others does not make you a better person. It makes you incoherent, because you're only pretending that everyone is as good as you, or you think they should be good from your vision, from your perspective. Me. I know that I put a very heavy weight on my shoulders. Perhaps my Capricorn ascendant makes me very aware of improving, that nothing is good enough, and that anything I do can be taken as incoherent. Sometimes it's scary to even work because it's taken almost an ostentation to earn money and not be spiritual for it. I am. So the poor are spiritual and the rich are not? Me. Well, Christian beliefs inherited from the Middle Ages. I am. Inheritance. Did you come to be consistent with those inheritances? Or did you come to remind us that we must be consistent with ourselves? Me. I came to try to show in myself the coherence of being myself, and to inspire each one, recognizing their own I am, to be able to activate their potential and change the world from their own power. I am. So, are you consistent? Me. No, I'm in the crisis looking to be, on the way to discover the potential of my I am. I am. So, here I will be waiting for you, because I am coherence.